first find yourself interested in photography?
Oh, okay, that was when I was 17. Actually, earlier than that, my dad got us a little camera, a little Rolleiflex SL35, and it was $150, and my brother and myself and Dad went thirds in it. So it's just a little film camera, you know. And that's when I started to, you know, sort of really get an interest. When I was 18, I had a month off work, and I had on the first week I cut my leg surfing, so it got infected and I had to get stitches and I couldn't actually surf anymore, so I was bored out of my brain. Like, what do I do now? So I ended up going and I just picked up the camera and just spent the rest of the time fooling around with the camera, and I found that as much fun as, you know, catching waves. And that's when I started thinking, oh, this could be something maybe, you know.
You mostly do landscape photography. Why did you choose that over, say, fashion or other types of photography?
Good question. I was actually just talking about that the other day. I said, oh, if I was a fashion shoot, I could probably go out and, you know, I'd meet all these really hot chicks, you know. That's, you know, as a 21-year-old guy talking, you know. I actually started out doing landscapes in the early days. I did black and white prints and I put them in my brother's restaurant for sale. But what happens, I had a guy from a surfboard manufacturer, a company called Creatures of Leisure, who came and saw me and said, oh, can you do some product shots for me? So all of a sudden I was becoming a commercial photographer. And then a mate said, oh, can you do my wedding photos? So then I became a wedding portrait photographer as well. So I was doing weddings, portraits, commercial work, and no landscapes. And that went on for about 6 years, and I was hating it more and more. The pressure was building, you know, the jobs were getting more serious. All of a sudden there was Janet Holmes at court, and I was taking photos of her, you know, and I go, oh, you know, this is out of my league, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, this is scary. Weddings, every time I had a wedding, I used to just feel sick for a week, you know, and then I'd feel sick afterwards because the films would go off to Melbourne to get processed and proofed, and then I'd be sick, wondering what they're going to turn out like, because I really didn't know. It's back in the days of film. So I hated it, and I was going to give up. In fact, I did give up. I went on a holiday, and I thought, well, this is it. I'm going to go on a holiday and I'll take my camera, but I probably won't do any shooting. And then the second day I met a lady who was doing landscape, had a little landscape gallery down in Esperance, and I just got really inspired. Well, she can do it down here, and she's making money. I'm going to go back to my original aim, which was to do landscape work, and start up a gallery in Dunsborough. And that's what I did. Just came back to it, right, I'm doing landscapes, and I started. That's why I do landscapes, because I love it. There's no pressure, there's no one to answer to. You take your own photo. If people like it, great, they'll buy it. If they don't like it, too bad, you know.
So where does most of your inspiration come from when you're doing landscape photography?
It comes from, initially it was, you know, I'd just go out and take a shot, you know. It was basically get up in the morning, the light was good, go take photos, and you know, just see what happens, see what you got. But I do get inspired by looking at other people's work, you know. I'm always looking at other photographers and seeing what they do, and I've got a good mate, Tony Hewitt, who's an amazing photographer. If you want to do some research on a really creative guy, he's probably one of the most creative guys I've ever photographed with. And I've got a lot of influences from him. You know, he's just got an amazing eye, and he comes up with the most wacky, wonderful compositions and sees things that no one else sees. So he's really using his right brain, you know, when he goes out and shoots. Whereas I've been just taking. I think that's part of the reason why I've been successful. I go out and photograph the big scene, you know. I see there's the whole landscape, big, it's that big, it's pretty, bang, take a shot, and people put it on their walls and they buy it, you know. The creative stuff doesn't sell as well. I'm going through this altered landscape stage at the moment where things can be ugly and, you know, depressing and, you know, industrial and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, and it's really nice and it's really refreshing to do that sort of stuff. So that inspires me, you know, seeing all that sort of stuff. There's guys like Edward Batinsky, who I love his work, and he just shoots massive industrial sites, factories and all this. I'm not sure if you've seen his work, but look him up. His stuff's really cool. It's just like that. nothing pretty. It's just like all the crap that we do to our planet. So that's my inspiration. Guys like that, and just trying. Now I'm always looking to try and do something that might make a difference. I don't want to die as the most successful decor landscape guy. I'd like to be someone who was looked up to as someone who cared about the environment and tried to make a difference.
Do you think creativity can be taught, or do you believe that you're born with or without that skill?
I think that you can learn certain techniques, but I don't know. I think it's in you. I think you're born with something. I think you can train yourself to use the right side of your brain to be more creative. But I think you've just got to have it. You've got to have a sense of balance, colour, all that sort of stuff. It's got to be in you. And although it might be in you, but you have to sort of train it to come out. There's some people that just don't have it at all. It's like people that are tone deaf. They just can't sing. But look, I might be wrong. I haven't done any studies into this. It's my own thought. But I go out and I take a photo and I don't think about the composition. It just happens. Like, look, it sounds wanky, doesn't it? It just happens, man. I go out there. I look through the viewfinder and I go, again, that's it, and I've pushed the button. So maybe I've trained my eye to compose properly, or not. It probably is part of that. But yeah, I think it's definitely that you have natural people, people that can pick up a guitar and play really quickly and just amazing at it. People that sing really well. People that can draw. There's definitely a bit of natural talent in there. Be creative, being traditional or conservative but rebellious. I have this this side of me where I really want to stick it to, especially mining companies. And I've done things. I'm always getting myself in trouble because I'll say something on my blog or I'll put something up and stir the pot. But then I kind of shy away from it a little bit because I realise that I get myself in a lot of trouble. Humble and a sense of empowerment. I am sort of humble in some respects in that I don't want people to think that I'm, some big highfalutin photographer. And Dad's always said to me, make sure you're humble. Don't go big note yourself all the time because no one likes someone that they're too high and mighty and they're not. So I'd definitely say that I'm humble a lot of the time. Alternating between fantasy and imagination, but having a rooted sense of reality also. Yeah, that's so me. I'm always sitting there and I'm always thinking about, oh man, if I could just get this photo that just blows everybody away, I just imagine, having this big exhibition and people come in and they're weeping in front of this photo, So that's my imagination, fantasizing about how epic it would be to people to see this stuff and go, oh man, this guy's just, he rocks. Playfulness and discipline. Yep, definitely. I like to have fun, and whenever I'm doing my workshops, I try to crack jokes all the time because I want people to laugh. I think that's more important to me than giving this stern lecture about, colour management and all this sort of stuff that's technical and boring. I'd rather crack jokes and get the crowd involved about, this is fun. What's he going to say next? But discipline definitely. I'm disciplined when it comes to photography. You've got to do everything right. You've got to shoot it right and all that. Smart but naive. Yeah, well, I was never stupid at school. But I never really enjoyed school either. Maybe that's my creative thing. I don't like organisation. Naive, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I guess, I just expect everyone to be like me, and think of the world like I think of it all. Physical energy, yeah. Quiet and relaxed. I'm not quiet or relaxed. I am relaxed when I'm doing photography, but I'm not relaxed. Most of the time I bite my fingernails and I'm, nervy and, I'm always, got to get out and do something. So I've got lots of energy for photography and that sort of stuff. Physical energy, yeah. Quiet and relaxed. I'm not quiet or relaxed. I am relaxed when I'm doing photography, but I'm not relaxed. Most of the time I bite my fingernails and I'm, nervy and, I'm always, got to get out and do something. So I've got lots of energy for photography and that sort of stuff. harbour sensitivities between a continuum between introverted and extroverted. Well, I'm a Leo, and the funny thing is, about 5 or 6 years ago, my mate Tony came up and said, look, I can get you a gig over in New Zealand, all expenses paid, 2 weeks, all you can do is give a 2-hour talk and then you can go off and do whatever you want. And I was so scared of public speaking that I just said, oh no, I can't do it, I couldn't do it. And here was this trip of a lifetime to go do whatever I wanted. All I do is stand up in front of people for a couple of hours and talk about my photography, and I couldn't do it. So that was my introverted side. And I've got over that now. So now I'm extroverted, and being a Leo, I tend to like the limelight, escape a rigid gender role stereotyping. Yeah, well, I can play the girl. I can, is that stereotype of the gender? I can, I have no problems with any of that sort of stuff. I'm happy to be. I'm happy to do the dishes. My wife, she wouldn't have it any other way anyway. I don't believe in girls doing this and guys doing that. I don't believe that girls are better photographers or worse photographers. There's more landscape photographers than the guys for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I often think that girls actually have a much more creative side than guys do. They tend to experiment more. Whenever I see girls' photography, it's always, especially student stuff, it's always a bit more creative. Some of it's a bit out there, but it's quite cool to see that, And it's like, oh, why? Girls, they do tend to, but guys are more literal, perhaps. They go for the big, there it is. Where girls can be a little bit more subtle and, thought out, maybe.